This video brought to you by Cox.
Hey explorers, I'm so excited to see you again. And I'm even more excited about the trip that you are gonna go on today. It's gonna be an awesome adventure. Do you like animals? Me too. And you're gonna get to go see some at the farm. You're gonna learn all about how even though, they're cute and fun, they're also so much more than that. They have jobs and they're really important and a little bit difficult to take care of too. You're gonna have a great time. I think you'll probably see some cows and chickens and probably a bunch of other animals too, but I don't wanna spoil the surprise. Do you have your passport with you? If you don't, you can download it from the Center in the Square's on-demand page and make sure you record all of our adventures in it. And remember, the only other thing you need to be an explorer are your explorer tools, your imagination, a willingness to learn, and the ability to ask questions. Now it's gonna take us a little bit to get to the farm, so let's head on over to the map and I'll show you where you're going today. Okay, so remember, we are here in Roanoke at Center in the Square, and today we're gonna go on a little bit of a drive up towards Scottsville, Virginia, where you're gonna visit a family-owned farm called Longbottom Farms. My friend, Mr. James, is there waiting for you, and you guys are gonna have the best time. So head on out, and I'll see you when you get back. Have fun.
Good afternoon, explorers. As Lindsay mentioned, we are out here today in Scottsville, Virginia. My name is Daniel James, and I am a professional food explorer. So this is my friend Lexi. And Lexi, can you tell me a little bit about your family here?
Yes, my husband and I and our 3 girls, we run Longbottom Farm.
So Lexi, tell me a little bit about what you guys do here on Longbottom Farm.
So we use regenerative agriculture to help improve the land as well as to raise happy, healthy animals. We've got a variety of animals here on the farm. We've got chickens and cows and pigs, just to name a few.
Yeah, and it looks like you've got a lot of land out here, so it seems like the animals live really good lifestyles, and then that's not only good for them, but that's good for us as well.
And very important.
Well, it's good. And as we've talked about before in some of our other virtual field trips, animals are classified into 3 groups based on what they eat. So those are carnivores, herbivores, and omnivores. And as humans, we're classified as omnivores. So we can get our proteins mostly from meats, but there also are some plants. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about some of those animals that we do get our proteins from and exploring a little bit more about that. So Lexi, what animal are we going to talk about next?
It is time for the pigs.
It is! Okay, so this is where the pigs live. Can you tell me a little bit about their lifestyle, how they grow up?
So this is just a small portion of where the pigs live. This is where they come for food and water, but they actually spend most of their time out in the woods.
Now, is that on most farms, or is that pretty special here?
For regenerative agriculture farms, we know the value of keeping a pig happy, and pigs are really happy in the woods. It provides shade, and usually, like ours has a little creek that runs through it, so they've got access to mud, which is really good for their skin and protects them from the sun and from bugs.
So is it kind of like the chicks too? They're not born as eggs or anything.
They're not born as eggs. They're born as little baby piglets, and their mama stays with them for about 8 weeks, and she feeds them milk. And then when they're about 8 weeks old, they get weaned and they get to come find out what the woods is all about.
And then can you tell me a little bit about their diet? What do they grow up eating? You said milk is what they drink at first. When they get out here, what do they eat?
So pigs are also omnivores. So they love fresh fruits and vegetables, but they also can get their proteins from other sources as well. So here we feed them their pig food, but they're also free to forage in the woods where they'll find acorns, they'll find roots. They love digging up roots, and those strong snouts really help them get it done.
So that's some of their lifestyle, but what about their day-to-day too? Do they spend most of their time working? Do they have jobs? What do they do?
Well, these guys like to take it easy. Pigs love a good nap. If the weather's nice, especially when it's warm, you will find them out sunbathing, and they really enjoy their relaxation time.
And then how do these pigs work with the other animals on the farm?
So these pigs do a really good job of tilling up the land. So if there is an area that is needing to maybe be seeded, you can put your pigs out there first. They'll help kind of work the earth a bit, and then when you throw out your seeds, it'll take even better.
Okay, so Lexi, what animal are we gonna look at next?
Time for cows.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. So first off, are these different types of cows?
We have a couple different breeds of cows. The black ones with the white middle are called belted Galloways. And then we have a couple of mixed breed cows that are a mix of red Angus, black Angus, and British white.
So the Oreo cows, those are the belted Galloway? Okay, cool, those are my favorite. So can you tell me a little bit about how they're raised? What is their life cycle?
So these cows are born out on the field with their mama. They stay with their mama for about 6 months, drinking milk, learning how to cow, and then they get weaned from their moms and they go out to eat grass on a pasture.
So do they eat grass all the time? How do they eat grass in the winter where there is no grass?
So in the wintertime, we are very fortunate that we have a field there where we can grow the grass up and then harvest it and dry it out and make hay. That's what they eat during the wintertime. Grass is a renewable resource that we value very highly here on the farm. We try to, in regenerative agriculture, really focus on the resources that kind of renew themselves. That would be grass, trees that grow, and there are some resources that are non-renewable. We try to avoid those because what we think is more harmonious with nature is those renewable resources.
That's fantastic. And then I know I'm an omnivore. These guys are herbivores. Okay, so if they're herbivores, they can eat these plants too. Why can they eat the grass and I shouldn't, right?
Well, I mean, if you really wanted to,
try.
you could.
Okay, but why can't I
you're
eat
not
grass?
going to grow big and strong like a cow would off grass. So cows have special stomachs. They're called ruminants. That allows them to get protein from the grass.
That's awesome. Now, can we meet one of these cows?
Absolutely. This is our sweet baby Ray right here. He is very friendly. He loves being around people.
That's fantastic. And then, so how old is he?
So Ray's about 2 years old, maybe 2.5 now.
Okay. And then during the day, what do they do most of the day? Is it kind of like the
They
pigs and sheep?
Eat.
They
eat. They eat and eat and eat. They spend 8 to 10 hours a day grazing.
And then how much water do they drink?
A minimum of 5 gallons per cow per day.
Wow. Okay. And so do they spend most of their time just outside in the sun? Is that kind of all year round?
That's for them. That is the life of a cow. They love being outside and enjoying all of nature's resources.
That's awesome.
We're looking at chickens today.
Okay. And what is the lifestyle of these chickens? What do they start off as?
So these little guys are about a week old and they will stay here in the brooder and they will spend their day eating, drinking, sleeping and growing and getting their feathers in. Once they have their big bird feathers, they can move outside.
So when they're this young, I mean, are they omnivores, are they carnivores, herbivores? What's the first thing they eat?
All chickens are omnivores. Baby chicks are raised on their pellet foods or mash, and it provides them protein as well as carbohydrates. But once they get bigger and move outside, they love bugs. They love finding bugs and digging up bugs and worms and lots of good things from the earth.
And is that where they get a lot of their protein from? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they eat bugs to get those. And then how important is it to water them? How much water do they need?
So it is very important for them to always have access to fresh, clean water. So our chickens in here have 2 separate waters that they're able to drink from, and then they move outside and they get an even bigger water. We actually have an automatic watering system, so they have access to 250 gallons of water.
And so do they stay inside all the time? I see there's lamps in here. Are they keeping them warm? What do they do?
These little guys, because they don't have their feathers yet, they can't regulate their body temperature. So we have to be able to keep them nice and warm. If they get cold, it stresses their bodies and it can be very dangerous for them.
And do they sleep a lot now, or are they just, how are they like in a day-to-day? What do they do?
They love naps. You'll see all of the ones in the back taking their little naps. They'll wake up to eat and drink, but they spend a lot of time napping.
So Lexi, where are we at now?
So this is our mobile egg house. This is where the chickens come once they're big enough to leave the brooder. They've got their adult chicken feathers and they can stay warm on their own.
How old are they about when they come out?
Usually about 6 weeks. It depends on how cold it is outside, but we want to make sure it's warm enough for them to stay safe.
Okay, and then how have these chickens adapted or changed over time for how they live now?
Well, I think their feathers are probably the most obvious adaptation, and you'll see differences in feathers between the breeds. Some are more suited for colder weather, so they'll have a thicker, downier under layer of feathers, where some do much better in our hot temperatures, like this white chicken here that has much smoother feathers.
And then when they come out here, so they come out here and lay eggs?
They do. They will lay eggs, about 1 egg per chicken per day, depending on the breed. These ones are all considered high production. So they lay 1 egg a day we get from the girls, and they will lay an egg no matter what.
And then where do they lay these eggs? Where do they put them? Do they have to lay them in a certain place?
They have special nesting boxes. They like to feel safe and secure. They kind of like dark, cozy places to lay their eggs. So we provide them with nesting boxes.
So you're saying that they eat bugs sometimes too. What else do they eat? What's part of their diet?
So they have a chicken feed, which has protein and carbohydrates, just like it did when they were babies. And they have that all the time, but they get to eat so many more things out here. They will pick grass, the flowers that they might like to eat too, as well as all the bugs and worms that they can find.
When they lay their eggs, what's the first thing that a chick will eat then?
So the baby chick inside the egg, the yolk or the yellow part in there is actually the very first thing that helps it to grow. So that yellow part that you see in the egg when you crack it is actually not a chicken at all. It's what feeds the baby chicken inside the egg.
So how come sometimes eggs will come out and we have those for breakfast and then other eggs turn into chicks?
Well, that has to have a very specific, certain circumstances to actually create a chicken out of an egg. It has to be fertilized by a rooster, and then it has to be incubated for a minimum of 21 days.
Okay. And so you guys have, there's a lot of land out here and there's a lot of different animals everywhere too. So how do they interact with each other?
Well, everybody works together to actually improve the land. It's kind of a wonderful cycle. So we have a lot of grass here, which cows love to eat. As the cow is done digesting that, then the cows make the poop. There can be a lot of poop, and with that poop comes bugs. And you know who likes bugs? Our chickens. So if we are able to rotate the cows off of one pasture and follow that up by the chickens, then the chickens actually help reduce the bug population as well as feeding them.
Lexi, thank you so much for having us here, showing us all the animals, how they live, what they eat, and what they do. If people want to find out more about Longbottom Farm, how would they do that?
Well, you can come see me every Saturday down at the Charlottesville City Market, or you can look us up online at longbottomfarm.com.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're done here, Explorers. Hope you had a great time, and we're going to take it back to Lindsay over in the office now.
Welcome back, Explorers! Did you have an awesome time with Mr. James? I'm sure you did, and I bet you saw so many cool things on the farm and learned so much about all the animals and how much work it really takes to keep a farm running. And I think it's so cool to think about how all the things in our world work together to support and sustain one another. What a great adventure. Next time, we're gonna have even more fun, but until then, just remember, all you need to be an explorer is your imagination, a willingness to learn, and the ability to ask questions. See you next time, Explorers.